How should the town encourage affordable housing development?
Pay off debt so that they can reduce property taxes and cut regulations where they can do so. Try to be more equitable in their fees and so on. I know, sewerage in particular, some people are charged fees they arguably shouldn't, and other people are given a pass.
Should the town consider incentives for business location and development above and beyond that standard package ratified by the town, county, and city if the prospective business is big enough and has enough of an economic impact? And enough is, of course, in the eye of the beholder.
Right. In general, incentivizing business needs to be done very carefully, because basically you're taxing existing businesses for benefits that the new business will get, kind of thumbing your nose at existing businesses that we have. However, if you can find an economic engine, I'll just say a vacuum cleaner manufacturing facility, because people across the country and perhaps even across the world will buy those vacuum cleaners. On the other hand, if you have a large restaurant, unless there's something really specific about it, a restaurant mostly just moves money around within the town. It's not an economic engine.
So, an example is Rivian. Mm-hmm. The town did not have Rivian before. And 2 years ago, you weren't all that keen on the package that went in to get Rivian. Have you changed your mind on that? Unfortunately,
electric vehicles are largely a government subsidy game. So to the extent that normal is just kind of, I don't know that bilking taxpayers outside of normal is quite the right phrase, but it's close. It's an economic engine in that capacity. It seems to have worked out well. I know in another interview, another candidate said, we were competing against thousands of towns across the U.S. We weren't. Thousands of towns didn't have, a large auto manufacturing building sitting there idle waiting for Rivian to come in. As such, I think they over-incentivized. I'm glad it seems to be working out well. I haven't crunched the numbers to see if it's been a net negative or positive yet.
Well, they have 7,100 employees, and a lot of them are coming to town.
That is on the plus side, but you need to look at the plus side and the minus side. And
what's the minus side from Rivian?
The expense that went into the incentives, the expense that's gone into the additional sewerage out there. I know some people have just said the additional sewerage out there is a total waste. That, I think, is an exaggeration. So I'm not, hardcore left or right or pro somebody or pro somebody else. I try to look at the big picture. And the additional payroll is good, but how many of those are normalites? I know even the town of Normal itself, most of their employees are not actually normalites. So of the Rivian people, how many of them are just coming in, driving on our roads, and then going back to Hudson or Carlock or wherever?
Well, according to the EDC, 40% plus, and don't hold me to that, but it's a significant chunk of that 7,100 that are local.
Okay.
Live locally.
And again, that's a good example of the plus side of the balance sheet, but one needs to look at the whole thing. And I have not crunched those numbers. And I don't know that anyone else has, because most people, you only look at the positive. There are other people that only look at the negative. As I said, the sewer expense being an example. I haven't had the time to look at both.